Home sellers make mistakes all the time, and some of these mistakes can cost you thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars here in Los Angeles. Here are some mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs if you're trying to sell your home here in LA. Number one, staging. Is it necessary? No, it is not necessary unless you want to sell your home quickly and for more money. Staging your home has a huge effect on how a buyer perceives your property. The National Association of Realtor does a survey every single year of agents, and 81% of agents who represented a buyer said that it made a huge impact on the buyer's ability to see themselves in that property. When you get a buyer emotionally invested in a property from a beautifully staged home, they will most likely put in an offer that is significantly higher than a property that is not staged. HomestagingsStats.com released a really great chart that says 50% of homes that were staged sold for 6% above their asking price. The Real Estate Staging Association says that properties that are staged sell 9 days faster than properties that are not staged. I work with buyers as well, and I can attest anytime that we walk into a property that is gorgeous, they instantly fall in love with the property. When you have somebody who falls in love with a property, they will offer more than somebody who just thinks, oh, it's a nice house. Now, some of you are saying, my house is beautiful. I don't need to stage. Well, let me tell you, in 20 years of doing real estate, I can say for about 8 or 9 properties that I have listed that I didn't have to do a single thing out of the hundreds that I have sold. Every single house needs to do some kind of staging. Now, remember, some stagers will not allow furniture in a property of an owner-occupied person. So if you are selling your home and you actually have to live in the property, it's going to be a little challenging to find a stager that's willing to do that. There are some, but it's limited. What I do in that situation is I bring a designer over to the house and we go through the entire property. We'll move furniture around. We'll say, okay, let's put this in storage. Let's get rid of that. Let's add a different fixture here. Let's add a plant here. Let's change this over. And it really makes a huge difference. I just did this on one of my listings in West Hollywood. It's a 1-bedroom condo. And the before and after pictures are night and day, from pre-staging, using her existing furniture and supplementing it with other things versus after staging. It just made a huge difference and a great option if you have to live in your property. All of this makes a huge impact on your bottom line. So don't skip the staging part because it will make a huge difference. Number 2, overpricing your home in a hot market. Now, I've seen sellers fall into this trap over and over again. It is a hot market and they think, oh, my value is worth this much more than every other comparable sale in here because I added travertine 3 years ago. Well, let me just tell you what happens in the minds of a buyer. If a property sits on the market in any market for a long period of time, the first thing that they think is, what's wrong with it? And we want to avoid buyers thinking that at all costs. That's why it's so important to make sure that you work with a real estate agent that understands the market and understands what the comparable sales are that are very comparable to your home. One of the strategies that works really well in Los Angeles is pricing a home slightly under market. When you do this, it creates a buyer frenzy, which typically ends up in a multiple offer situation, and it usually ends up going higher than what you would have originally listed it at. I know that as a seller, this is a really scary tactic to use because this is your biggest investment. You want to get every dollar out of this as possible. But I have seen this tactic happen over and over again where they price it under market, they get multiple offers, and it sells for above. In fact, if you look at the last 30 days of sales in Silver Lake, which is a great neighborhood in Los Angeles, you can see here that out of 35 properties, 21 of them sold for above their asking price, even with interest rates at the high 7s and low 8s. Number 3, selling your home with an agent or without an agent. Now, you do not need a real estate agent to sell your own home. In fact, if you can do it yourself, great, do it, save some commission. But there are a lot of things that you need to do in order to make that happen that a real estate agent would do. For example, the first thing that you need to do is figure out what your home is worth. To do that, you want to make sure that you look at the comparable sales within the last 4 to 6 months, preferably sooner than that. The last 30 days would be ideal. And you want to make sure that you're looking at similar type homes. So if it's The square footage is around 200 square feet on either side. You want to make sure if it's a single story, it's another single story. If it's on a hillside construction, you want to look at other hillside construction. You also want to take into consideration if it has a view, if it has a big lot, and you're going to need to make adjustments on all of those things. The next thing you'll need to do is stage the property. You can hire your own stager and come in and they will fix up the property and make it really pretty. After that, then you will need to hire a photographer, a videographer, a drone footage, and make sure that you distribute those on all of the normal platforms. Now, once you've done that, and then you have to get all of your disclosures, there are some major disclosures that you need to take care of. The biggest one in any real estate transaction in California is called the Real Estate Transfer Disclosure Statement. This one is super important. You need to fill this out correctly. If you do not fill this out correctly, or if you fail to disclose something and a buyer finds out and there's a big problem after they purchase your home, they can come back and sue you for 3 times the damages. So this is very important. Make sure that you fill out this form correctly. The next one is called the Seller's Property Questionnaire. It is very similar to the Real Estate Transfer Disclosure Statement. You want to make sure everything is filled out correctly. Again, if it is not filled out correctly, you're opening yourself up to liability for lawsuits. Those are 2 major disclosures. There's usually 47 different disclosures. Depending on where your home is located, each little city and each area has different codes that you will need to bring your home up to speed in order to sell your home. You can use a retrofit company in order to do that. They can do the work for you, or they can give you a certificate after you've done all the work to verify that all the code is up to speed for that locality. Now, that's just the beginning. We haven't even started the marketing of the property or the actual contract and negotiations with the buyer. If you don't do this on a daily basis, there are so many ways for things to fall through the crack and ways for you to open up liability for lawsuits. So if you don't want to deal with all of the headache of selling a home yourself, I'd be more than happy to help you out and explain the process and do all of those things I mentioned, including many, many other things in order to get your home sold. Number 4 is a big myth that if you renovate everything, it's going to automatically give you a higher price. That is definitely not the case. I had a client once that decided to put marble everywhere, including on some of the walls. Why? I'm not really sure, but they thought that because they were adding marble, which is an expensive material, on the entire property, that it was automatically going to add a ton of value to their property. Well, let me tell you, it didn't. Nobody wants a full marble clad house. It ended up taking a lot longer to sell, and they got less money than they originally anticipated. So not all renovations are created equal. According to the National Association of Realtors, one of the highest returns on investments for a property is, and this is surprising, switching over your HVAC from fossil fuel to an electric heat pump. This actually adds 103% of your investment. So if you're looking to make an investment and a change, it's not a really sexy renovation because you don't really see it. So a lot of people will ignore things that they don't see, but that is a good renovation for your return on investment. But the number one way to add value to your property is to add square footage. If you have the opportunity to add an ADU or a guest house or add an addition to your property, which increases your square footage, the more square footage, the more money that you will make. And you have the typical kitchen and bath remodel. You want to make sure that you're not over improving your kitchen or your bathrooms, but they tend to have really good return on your investment. And probably the best return on your investment for the price is landscaping. Again, anytime you are thinking about doing a renovation, it is a good idea to talk to a real estate professional in your local market, because in some areas, it could be what you want to do in your addition could be a really good benefit. And in other areas, it could be a detriment. So talking through what a real estate agent's professional opinion about a renovation in your area will really help you make an educated decision on what to do and what not to do. There are a lot of ways to lose money in real estate, but my job is to make sure that you avoid all of them. If you would like more information about how I sell homes here in the Los Angeles area, please give me a call. My phone number is 213-268-6832. I get phone calls every day for people moving to Silver Lake, Echo Park, or Los Feliz. So if you were specifically looking for a home in these areas, please give me a call. My phone number again is 213-268-6832. My name is Felipe Crook with EXP Realty, investing in your dreams.